everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Iris and today's topic is how to write notes in college. During my undergraduate and also graduate studies, I use the 3 sets of notes approach. So what you do is you write 3 sets of notes during the semester. As you progress through your notes, they should become more clear and concise. If you haven't seen my video on how to read a textbook or how to read scholarly reviewed journal articles, I will link those 2 videos down below as you will need those to help you prepare and also write your 3 sets of notes. In your first set of notes, you want to do this before lecture, and these notes should be based on your assigned readings from your course. An example would be chapters from a textbook or journal articles that you can find on your university library website. You should pair your first set of notes with your first read-through of your assigned readings. So this would be related to the 3 times reading approach that I talk about in my previous videos, like how to read a textbook and how to read an article. With your first set of notes, you should also try to gain an understanding of key and important concepts and theories. Your first set of notes should also include examples to help you clarify certain ideas. In your notes, you can also include questions that you want to ask during office hours, lecture, or tutorials. Your second set of notes should be during your lecture, and oftentimes your professors will be kind enough to share PowerPoint slides with you, so I would definitely print or download these slides beforehand, and when you're in the lecture, you can save time taking notes because the slides will usually have all the key concepts. What the professors are saying in the lecture that might not be in the slides are probably guides and clarification for certain theories and concepts. So if you're unlucky, your professor might not be providing any PowerPoint slides and they are just giving information straight to you verbally. It's a little bit more difficult to pick out things that you need during those second set of notes. Usually in that situation, I would bring in my first set of notes with me to the class, and what I would do is that as a professor is speaking about certain concepts, I would check with my first set of notes, see if anything's repeated already, and if it's not, then that's when I know I have to write it down. And if it is, then I can just skip it and wait for the next important topic or point that the professor is making. But in any case, if you have PowerPoint slides or if you aren't given PowerPoint slides, the second set of notes that you take during lecture, both situations you would have to be looking for information that's slightly new or information that can enhance your understanding of the concepts and theories. Once the second set of notes are completed and you have went to your lecture and have gone home, it is best to pair your second set of notes with the second read-through of your readings. And why I say this is because this is the point where you review the textbook and also the lecture notes that you have, and you will find out any information that you still don't understand, and you can include those in your notes. Another important thing is that you can also compare your first set and second set of notes. If some things aren't mentioned by a professor in the lecture, it might not be something that you need to focus on. You can always double check with your teaching assistant or professor. But if they say it's not important and you find out that those things don't need to be included, then your second set of notes are probably the more accurate and concise version. So the second set of notes might also include notes from your tutorials if those are, or labs if those are included within your course. So your third set of notes, also known as the final set, they should be paired with your second and or third read-through of your readings. So if you already did a good job with your second set of notes and second read-through, you can go straight into making your third set of notes. If not, then you would need to take that extra read-through to prepare for your final set of notes. So the third set of notes usually should consider important and key information from your first two sets. They should also include any practice problems or questions that appeared in your course. If not, or if you feel pretty confident, you can also create your own questions prior to taking an exam for that course. You can also create a mind map or concept maps based on key terms within your third set of notes. So really what third set of notes, the goal is to apply what you know and retrieve information for your exam. So with my own experience, I usually complement active recall with the 3 times reading approach and also the 3 sets of notes approach. It seems quite overwhelming, but really this is going to help you save more time to study. And why this is important is because with those multiple read-throughs and also those sets of notes that all relate to studying on your own, going to lecture, and then reviewing, these spaced out repetitions are going to help you have a more familiar understanding of the content, and it's going to give you a stronger understanding of the content as well. So once you have those two things down, it's a good time to practice applying and retrieving the information. So I know there are many different types of note-taking styles or methods. One of my favorites is to use the outline method. So what you have is the heading as the main topic, and then your first bullet point, the subtopic. Second bullet point would be your supporting key points, and then the third bullet point would also include the example. Another method that I like to use for note-taking are Excel tables, and I find these really helpful when you are reading multiple articles and if your exams are comparing them, or in a sense you need to know a few articles for your exam, then the Excel table gives you a chance to organize the structure of the article and also to put key points under each important topic within the articles. If you are comparing and contrasting, you're going to be able to detect those connections between those articles pretty easily and clearly with the Excel table. And if you aren't taking exams, the Excel table is also very helpful for keeping track of articles that you want to use for a major paper or project. The final method that I like to use is called the marginal notes, and this is when you write notes in the margins of your chapter in the textbook or journal articles. And for margin notes, they're usually just really brief and short because there's not much room in the margins. Usually just write keywords or concepts on the side, and then I also indicate maybe question marks or an exclamation mark for things I don't understand or things that I find that are important. And with margin notes, I find that if you want to summarize maybe a paragraph, I usually put maybe like 5 terms in there that might pop up for me, or just write the name of the theory if that's what the paragraph is focusing on. In my own experience, I also noticed that it's not great to start your note taking with highlighting because you need to be familiar with and understand the content before you know what is important. And highlighting is also a passive form of reading. It's not the best way to learn and retrieve information. Why I say you should not just highlight, because you're likely to overestimate your retention and understanding, and you would likely have to access what you highlighted to remember important information. And you would also likely be engaging in rote learning or memorization because you are reusing the exact words that you highlighted to learn or explain something. This becomes pretty troublesome when you are taking an exam and you can't state things verbatim. So do not just highlight, do take notes. And why I say this is because you need to summarize what you read in order to retain and understand things. And while you're taking notes, you're putting those ideas into your own words, and that's, in a sense, a process of explaining something to yourself. And what you're doing is active reading if you're doing those methods of note-taking that I mentioned, such as outline method, Excel table, and marginal notes, because you're working with the content as you are reading it.